It covers Jump Force rather than fighting games, and I'm probably going to continue to cover anime games for quite some time, and it's all because Yugi Moto is in Jump Force. On top of that, I fully intend to main this character at all costs. Unfortunately though, we don't actually know everything about his moveset. A while back we got a gameplay trailer of Yugi, and from that I was actually pretty disappointed because I thought it was confirmation that you could only play as Dark Magician, and Dark Magician Girl was just kind of slightly involved in the moveset. And that's not only because we saw very little of Dark Magician Girl in that trailer, but it's also because we already saw 3 abilities in action: Swords of Revealing Light, Spellbinding Circle, and of course, Spell Shattering Arrow. On top of that, we also saw the duo attack from Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician. But with the recent V-Jump scan, we actually get a look at Yugi's abilities, more specifically their names. Special 1 was originally translated as Black Magic Attack. In English, this would probably be called Dark Magician Attack. Special 2 was translated to be Dark Magician Girl Summon, which is the one I am definitely most excited about, but we'll come back to that in just a moment. And finally, Special 3 was translated to Draw Card. So what do all of these do exactly? Let's focus on Special 2. Now, we don't have confirmation of this, I'm just going to speculate based off of the name and what I assume the character will play like. Dark Magician Girl Summon, or more likely to be changed to in English, Summon Dark Magician Girl. My current theory behind this one is that it would allow you to switch between Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician. If that's right, while you have Dark Magician Girl in play, this move would be renamed to Summon Dark Magician, and the Special 1 is called Dark Magic Attack, which I do believe will actually change based on which Dark Magician you have in play. If you have Dark Magician in play, it will be Dark Magic Attack. If you have Dark Magician Girl in play, it will be Burning Magic Attack, which is basically Dark Magician Girl's version of Dark Magic Attack. It's worth noting that Special 1 and 2 were actually initially translated to Dark Magician Summon and Dark Magician Girl Summon. If that does end up being the case though, I don't think anything in this theory actually changes, but to use Dark Magic Attack, which I'm currently assuming is Special 1, instead of doing that, you'll just use the button of whichever character you have in play. So for example, if you use Dark Magician Summon while you already have Dark Magician in play, it will do Dark Magic Attack. And the same thing goes for Dark Magician Girl Summon. Now you might be wondering how I've gone over 2 special moves from Yugi Moto without mentioning Spell Shattering Arrow or Swords of Revealing Light. Well, those are both already confirmed to be tied to the Draw Card effect, which appears again to have multiple effects. Now we know for sure that Draw Card can give you Spell Shattering Arrow and Swords of Revealing Light, and I personally think it's also how you're going to get Spellbinding Circle, but this has not been confirmed yet, and it's just an assumption on my part. But I firmly believe that this Draw Card special move, the Special 3, is going to make or break Yugi's moveset, both in terms of how competitively viable it is, but also how fun it's going to be to use. We don't actually know how it's going to work, so I'm going to go over a couple different theories now. So to be clear, everything I'm about to lay out, all of these different options, it's entirely theory crafting. We have no idea how this mechanic actually works. Option 1, you have a rotation of cards, let's call it Spell Shattering Arrow, Spellbinding Circle, and Swords of Revealing Light. And that rotation is always in the exact same order, meaning if you do use Spell Shattering Arrow, you won't be able to use it again until you use Spellbinding Circle, for example. Option 2, you have a deck that contains a handful of cards, including ones that we don't know about yet, and of course the ones we already do know about, Spell Shattering Arrow, Spellbinding Circle, and Swords of Revealing Light. And this deck can be shuffled when you run out of cards, or possibly even when you switch between the magicians. Option 3, the most likely of the options in my opinion, is that you just have a rotation of cards that is entirely random. You press draw a card, and you will draw one of many options, and then one of those things will happen. This is the least exciting version of it for me, but I think it's still the most likely one. I do want to talk about the draw card thing a little bit more later on in this video as it pertains to other cards, but first, let me talk about Yugi's Awakening. Currently, we don't know if Yugi's going to have an awakening or not, but I think he does have one. You may have noticed I haven't managed to talk about the duo attack, Dark Burning Magic. Thank you very much, Twitter. The reason for that is because I think this attack, Dark Burning Magic, is actually a part of Special 1, but it can only be done while in your awakening, which probably leads you to ask what I think Yugi's awakening is going to be, and I personally think it's going to be both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl on screen fighting together at the same time. If you look at all of the gameplay of Yugi Moto, Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl don't really glow, besides in a few situations. Dark Magician glows when Yugi casts Spell Shattering Arrow, and Dark Magician Girl glows when Yugi casts Spellbinding Circle. However, neither of them glow during their respective attacks, Dark Magic Attack and Burning Magic attack. However, they do glow during Dark Burning Magic, their duo attack. So the way I see it, there's one of two ways that you can actually trigger Dark Burning Magic, the duo attack. Again, thank you, Twitter. One way would be that you need to draw it from the draw card effect, which, let's face it, would be kind of weird because the specific wording on the text of the card Dark Burning Magic is if you already control Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Alternatively, I think the other way it could work is that it's again a part of his awakening, and while you're in your awakening, your special one is actually just Dark Burning Magic, the duo attack. Just like how your special one changes based on which character you already have in play, Dark Magician Girl or Dark Magician. And again, that's not specifically confirmed either, that's just what I'm interpreting from the translations. So I'm fully aware a lot of that might have been difficult to follow. So here's a side-by-side screenshot of everything we definitely know about Yugi and everything I have interpreted from that. As you can see, everything we know about Yugi is a little bit confusing because there's a lot of unplaced moves. We don't know where they belong or what they should be tied to. Just using a little bit of reasoning, I have determined that this is roughly what his moveset would be. Again, just to recap, Dark Magic attack changes based on whether you have Dark Magician in play, Dark Magician Girl in play, or both, which is again a part of the Awakening in theory. Ability 2 would be switching between both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. Ability 3 would be draw a card, which has 3 different effects so far, based on my assumptions, and awakenings are of course Slifer the Sky Dragon as his technique, and his actual awakening would be summoning both of them at the same time. Finally, I do want to go over specifically the draw card mechanic. I actually think it's a really interesting mechanic. It allows Yugi to be able to break the rules of the game. Right now, we already know that he has 5 special moves, 2 more than regular characters, and he's also got an ultimate attack just like every other character, or an awakening technique as it's called in this game. And for all we know, Yugi has a bunch of cards tied to that draw card effect too. We just don't know about them. If that's the case, if there are more cards bound to that move that we just don't know about yet, I would love to see the Exodia pieces thrown in there. It'd be really hard to balance just because you need to reward the player for summoning the Exodia piece, but you also need to not reward them heavily enough because one would assume that once you summon all 5 of them, you get some big reward, like perhaps maybe a chunk of damage, or even just winning the game. It just depends on how hard it is to actually get Exodia out there. I don't think this would ever happen though, because at the end of the day, you would have to have it cost meter, or you would have to allow it to give you meter back. Because if you think about it, this would be special 3, right? So it would probably cost 2 bars of meter. That means you would have to spend, at a bare minimum, 10 bars of meter throughout the game to be able to summon Exodia, and that's assuming that you get an Exodia piece every single time you press the draw card effect, which you of course wouldn't, because of the 3 other cards we already know, or sorry, the 2 other cards that we know for sure are already in there, and the one that we're assuming that's in there as well, which is Spellbinding Circle, and possibly even more. So the more cards you add to it, the less likely you are to draw Exodia, meaning the more meter you're going to have to spend to be able to actually summon Exodia. I don't think Exodia will be involved in the moveset, but I would love to see it. It would make me so happy. I was saying for a long time leading up to the reveal of Yugi's moveset that I would love to see Exodia. It doesn't look like we're going to get it. That's actually a fun question though for the comment section. Let's see who can come up with the best idea for adding Exodia into Yugi's moveset. So let me know in the comment section how you would add Exodia to Yugi's moveset, and I'll be sure to pin the best idea I see. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you could leave a like on it, it really helps me out. This video took a long time. I spent a lot of time not only working on my interpretation of these moves, but also constructing the video itself, and also I had huge help from both Nini Spangle and Griffin Station, who were able to help with some of the translations of this. So thank you to those 2 guys for helping me out with this. If you guys could go support them both on YouTube and on Twitter, it would mean the world to me, and I know they would appreciate it as well. Subscribe to keep up to date with future content like this. My name has been Bilbzy, and I will see you in the next video.